Good evening, friends. Stephen Benoon here with Israeli News Live, and wanted to kind of come back again with this situation on La Palma. And not just La Palma Island, but also I wanted to kind of discuss some issues there that are going on as well with the Alaskan Aleutian Islands, another major volcanic eruption. It's actually not erupted at this point here, but there is concern that it is in that process, and Hal Turner had brought this out over on his platform there. Seismologists have stated that a major volcanic eruption is underway with hazardous activity both on the ground and in the air. Seismic observations represent an increase in the eruptive activity at the site of the volcano. Scientists have upgraded the aviation color code and volcano alert level to a red warning. That is what Hal Turner is reporting. Of course, he reported this here September 20th, 2021. But what I found interesting about this is what we had reported as well when it came to La Palma. And that is, in this article here, businessinsider.com, U.S. Coast Guard cutters shadow Chinese warships sailing near remote U.S. territory in Alaska. Well, happened to be that remote territory is the Aleutian Island there, or where the volcano would be. 4 Chinese Navy vessels were recently spotted operating in waters near Alaska's Aleutian Islands. The U.S. Coast Guard said in a statement Monday the People's Liberation Army Navy Task Force, comprising a guided missile cruiser and a guided missile destroyer, a general intelligence vessel, and an auxiliary vessel, was conducting military and surveillance operations in the Bering Sea and the North Pacific Ocean. Now, doesn't that just seem a little bit suspicious? As you guys know, we had spoke about how that the Chinese, specifically the Chinese and Russians, I was told back on September the 8th, that they would actually try to use some type of device to set off the volcano on the Canary Islands. And then on, September 13th, we began to get all this activity. Now, I didn't actually share that with you guys on the 13th, and I'm still trying to find the place on that. I know I actually did speak about it after the swarm had already begun. That was on the 17th, but the swarm had already begun. I was told about it on the 8th. I'd shared it with my FEMA source as well at that time. That's one of the reasons why I found out about the information. We were trying to understand better about the lava that was flowing under New York, and that's how the subject came up for me. And it may have actually been on Hebrew Nation Radio with Bonnie Harvey that I mentioned this. Still trying to track down that particular part, but it doesn't really matter. The point is we knew about it. There are several people I shared that information with at the time, and that ended up being that it was China alone that is kind of hammering away over here at La Palma. And now we get this information coming up, the Chinese military up near the Alaskan Aleutian Island there, where we have the volcano up there. It seems a bit suspicious, and if this is really the case, then it is a war on the United States being conducted by weather weapons, you might call it, manipulative weapons in order to create seismic activity or volcanic activity that in turn would cause destruction to the U.S. mainland. Now, there are those out there that believe that even if the landslide were to go off on La Palma, that it would not actually really have any significant effects on the eastern coast of the United States. And they could be right. I'm not saying that they're not. But there are also other scientists that disagree, that think just the opposite. Well, sadly enough, I got some information today. I can't exactly say how. I just tell you that I got it. There were meetings at the White House over La Palma. And what I was told, because I was actually asking about the sulfur, there has been, people have been saying this, they're smelling sulfur coming out. That is a chance of worst case. 50% sulfur smell is generally an indicator of an impending eruption. Now, we know that La Palma is already very much, very active, fully blowing up and setting everything on fire. As you can see here, the lava going down the hill there, consuming the homes, things like that. That is La Palma, what's happening there on the September the 20th. But the problem is that what we were speaking about here when I was requesting about this sulfur smell is that, in other words, another eruption is about to take place. As if that's not enough already that you're seeing on your screen, they're anticipating another eruption. I was told that there's not enough, how would you say it? There's not enough of, the vents are just not blowing out enough in order to relieve the pressure. And that this is actually going to get worse. So at that point, I was told that Biden has been advised and does not want media disclosure. He doesn't want media disclosure when he has been advised by the scientists there here in the United States that there is a very great possibility of an even greater eruption, which would lead to the possibility of that landslide. As Dutchson's pointed out the other day, the land was already fissuring from what he could see. In other words, the land is splitting. So it could cause a massive landslide that would fall into the ocean as a result. And so, according to what I was told today, that the Biden administration and his cabinet are not wanting disclosure until one of our buoy alerts were to go off, which would only give you about a 2 to 3 hour notice. And the sad thing is we have the ability to be able to give people at least an 8-hour notice if this were to happen. But instead, you're only going to get 2 to 3 hour notice. I mean, think about the irony. We've got this volcano here going off in La Palma. There is, regardless of what level we might say of risk there would be to a tsunami, a mega tsunami taking place, and how that could or may or may not affect the United States, there's still that possibility that it could. And I would say that people are grown enough and should have the ability to make their own decision on what they want to do as far as protecting their families. So, but no. And of course, there are scientists that believe that if a mega tsunami were to hit our coast, that it could potentially affect people within 200 miles of the coastline. Now, me personally, do I think that we'll have something of that magnitude? I don't believe so personally. I believe that even if there were a landslide, I don't think that we would have such a massive tsunami. But not to say that there couldn't be. I mean, I really just don't know. But the thing is, I would rather tell you and advise you so that you can make your own decision as to what to do. Now, it didn't end there. Biden's cabinet felt like it would cause panic if they were to release this to the public of what the potentials are that the scientists are speaking about. And I'm just kind of going over everything right now again. As I said, they could give you easily an 8-hour notice, but since they only want to predicate notice on buoys, that will only give you a 2 to 3 hour notice. So our buoys would indicate, well, we really do have a problem. In other words, even though the island could collapse and it could generate a tsunami to start with, their idea is, well, it may not be that bad by the time it gets to the United States. So let's wait and see when our buoys go off. If our buoys are showing that we have a sizable tsunami warning, then we're going to warn the American people we got a tsunami coming in. Well, that's just not good, is it? Just not good. Oh, well, what can I say? That's where we're at, friends. And so, and like I said, we've shared with you before this very strange situation about China. Now our Coast Guard intercept them near the islands there up in Alaska, where we have this potential of an earthquake going off, the Aleutian Islands. Hal Turner talking about it, that there's seismic observations, and we've already been showing you all the different, seismic things that have been going on up around Alaska, including going all the way out there on that key, that very remote area of Alaska. And of course, if you think about it, just look at this here for a moment. If that were to go off, the Aleutian Islands there, if it did something similar to what they did over there that were to happen or could potentially happen on the Canary Islands there, maybe it would cause a tidal wave that would hit the United States again. I mean, who knows? I don't know. I don't know if the Aleutian Islands have that type of a risk. It doesn't really look like it from what I can see there. It's too far inland. So I would think probably not. But it is just kind of an odd coincidence, don't you think? So, I mean, who knows? I mean, we got all kinds of crazy things going on. We got volcanoes under the ocean going off. We got going off above the ocean everywhere. So, whether or not China's involved in it or not, I guess is neither here nor there. The issue is that China has been afforded the opportunity in the case of a natural disaster here in the United States. They are coming in there with their military as a humanitarian aid for this country. Just think of the implications that will have here. I'm Stephen Ben-Nun with Israeli News Live. Thank you for listening. And let's go back to the biblical teaching of things. We really need to get into some of these things there. And I've been doing a lot of studying all day Sunday there as well. Just have not quite got ready yet, but we need some good news. We've had enough bad news as it is for 1 week. Let's get some good news out there. And God bless you. Thank you for listening. And we'll talk to you guys again soon. Also going to be doing another broadcast on Patreon. I got some more information today. Something else is coming our way. I'll send that over there to you guys there. Nothing like all this stuff that's going on now. But it is kind of a little weird thing that I'm going to share there. I actually got several things I still need to speak about, disclose and stuff, and I just haven't had a chance to do it all yet. Anyway, thank you for listening. Stephen Ben-Nun with Israeli News Live. And God